the part that annoyed me was when Garrett was like going after her and she kept saying no, even though we knew that she kind of liked him, but she didn't want to admit it to herself. I'm like, oh, I was really worried that the book was just going to do this forever and ever. And it was just going to keep, like, her getting close to him, and then he would do something she didn't like it, and then I thought, oh god, please don't tell me this is going to be it, and we're not even going to get to, like, the good stuff where they get happy ever after. But it didn't drag out for long. I was really glad. It got quite speedy at the beginning, and I liked it. It went at the right pace, even though you skipped some time as well. It was nice that they first met, she automatically was attracted to him, he was automatically attracted to her, and he was freaked out by it, but he wanted to go after her, and she kept turning him down. I was like, why? And I even blame Emma sometimes, because she did stuff where she'll be around the guy, even though it looked bad, but it's not it wasn't like she was dating someone else or she was actually on a date with someone else, it was just the guy or something. This happened more than once, and of course Garrett thought it was like she doesn't like me then, she's not attracted to me, even though we knew she was, and she didn't think he liked her that way. And I was so glad that quickly they kind of both realised, you like me, I like you, and that they were about to kiss, and then something happened, and it was so sad when we found out when Garrett's dad died. Oh, it was just so sad. I didn't like it, and I was really scared at that point because they finally just got so close that they both admitted their things for each other, and they were about to kiss, and it got ruined. And I was like, please don't tell me this means now that his dad's died, he's gonna go off the rails. I thought that's what was gonna happen. I thought that now that, because he kept going after her and she had kept pushing him away, I thought now that she finally had accepted it and been like, I like you and you like me, let's be together, that now his parents died, he liked her back, that he was like, I can't be with you now, I'm depressed, I've lost my dad. Because that happens sometimes, when, even if you're dating someone, they're in a good relationship, if someone, the girl or the guy, lose someone really close in their family, they kind of they end up breaking up or something because the other person's just so depressed and they can't be happy with that person because of something bad that happened in their family, which is understandable. But I was scared because it's a love story, right? So I was scared that now that his dad died, that he was going to be like pushing her away, and he would end up having sex with another girl and be like, I like you, but my dad just died, and she would end up going and having sex with someone else, and that it would take years after like college they would finally meet up again and had to go through, work out how they messed up their relationship and see if they would get together then. Luckily that didn't happen, but it kind of did at the same time, but not as much. It was like he wanted to see her, but he kind of was trying to take a step back, but she didn't let him, which I was so glad about. Like, I loved the picnic, that was awesome. If it was me, I wouldn't have done what she did on my first date with a guy on a picnic, if you know what I'm on about, because she let him touch her up and stuff, and they did finally have their first kiss. I like that bit, but it's them, it's how their love story is, and I enjoyed it. It was awkward when his new dad figure showed that was awkward, who it related to the previous books, because Gunnar and they always walk on them having sex, don't they? And you can see how it was happening to Garrett and Emma, and it just made me laugh that they were going through the same thing, and I was like, oh, that's why they do it then, because it happened to them, and it just makes you laugh. So I'm thinking that the couples from the previous books might do it to their kids, which they have done, and it just makes you laugh because it's just a connected link that happens to all the couples in the books. What else? Yeah, I liked it that it was sad. It didn't last too long because she wanted to have sex, and he wanted to yet to, but he didn't want to rush it. He wanted to make it special, and I liked it that they had this he had a big talk with his like new father figure, and it was telling him about being careful having sex. I mean, it's not doubt nowadays. I'm sure you get the same speech, that you've got to use condoms or be on the pill, whatever, if you're having sex, you're a teenager, you don't want to get knocked up. But I think it was nice that this is a bit older, this is back in, like, when before I was born sort of times. So it was a bit more serious, that those days, that if a girl got pregnant, she was automatically a slut, and it was bad for the family, and she couldn't get married, that if, those sort of days, if you got pregnant, it was a bad thing. Now, a lot of teenagers have babies, even though I wouldn't recommend it, pardon me, but people don't, like, call you sluts or make it, it's not so much as a big deal. It's quite common now that girls tend to have babies a lot younger, like if they're in their teens or 20s. It's quite more common. It's so that it's not so much more of a oh my god thing, because it's just happened so much more now. So that was nice that they had that though. I hated it when her parents had to move away. I was like, seriously? I thought this thing was going to happen again where they would actually have to break up and they wouldn't see each other for years. That meant that he would have sex with someone else and she would probably lose her virginity to someone else, and then they would come back together again. I thought that was going to happen. I was like, no, I just didn't really want it to happen. Luckily it didn't. So she went around telling him the news, and Garrett understood, and she was like, she wanted him to have sex with her because he was like, I'm not going to do that just because you're having to leave. But they kind of stayed together, but they were long distance because she went to college and he wasn't going to college anymore because he had to help his mum out with the ranch because his dad was dead. So it was quite sad, and she wanted to stay with him, you know. I'm pretty sure that she would, she even said in the book that she would marry him right now if she had to, just to stay with him. And it didn't last long. That she was off at college and he came to visit her, and I wasn't sure what was going on when Gunnar wanted to go and visit her, and he saw her with this guy, and she was like holding his hand for a second. I personally thought when I saw that because even his friends were acting weird, that I could see her and knew that she was with someone else, and I thought, oh my god, don't tell me that she's like she's just started dating someone else now, or she's like on the first date and she's starting to see if there's someone else out there for her because it's not working out with the distance between her and Garrett. Or I just thought maybe it isn't what it looks like and it's just that she's just hanging out with a friend or something like that. But obviously I hated it that Gunnar saw her and he automatically like thought, oh, you're moving on then with someone else. That didn't take you long. And he didn't let her talk. You know, he's just like, oh, forget it, I'm leaving. And he drove off and she was crying. She, you know, if that was me, I was so pissed off. I would probably go get him in a car and drive right back to where my boyfriend was, find him and be like, excuse me, you didn't let me talk. I'm not dating this guy. It's not what you think. It's this, it's that, and explain myself. And then if he was still mad, I would dump him. I'd be like, it's not my fault that you wouldn't, you know, your problem. But it was really sad. I hated it that then he was getting really drunk all the time, and there was that bloody slut girl he had sex with, and he was actually thinking about it for a second, but he knew it would be a big mistake. So I was so glad he didn't. I really thought for a second he was actually going to have sex with her, and then Emma would come to find him, and then she would explain everything to him, and then she would come into the room and she would see that he had just had sex with this girl, and then she would start crying like, I can't believe you did this, and walk off and he'd be like, I'm so sorry. But luckily that didn't happen. I was so scared it was going to happen, because if you know Kelly Elliott, she's done that before with someone's book, but even when they actually really liked each other and the guy found out that she gave virginity to a person that didn't care about her, even though she was drunk, but it ruined their relationship for a while, so they finally got back together, like, sorted things out. But I was scared she was going to go down that route again. I just thought, because I love Kelly Elliott's books, but she can really talk to you in love stories where you know that they're going to get to the happy ending normally, but there's just stuff that sometimes it's so a big deal, and I'm just like, oh my god, how's the couple going to get through this? And I just was scared that this doesn't happen in this book, that it wasn't going to be as easy and relaxing it was. I kept getting paranoid that something bad was going to happen. Wasn't going to like it. Luckily there wasn't that much that creeped me out. I did cry reading the book, but it wasn't anything that I was like panicking that happened, I was like, oh no, what they're going to do. But anyway, so his mate picked him up, he was drunk, and said, we're going to take you somewhere, and he must have passed out or something. And Emma showed up and they ended up having sex the first time, and he didn't put a condom on the first time, and I was thinking they actually might get pregnant, but she didn't. That was awesome. And she explained everything to him, that it wasn't a guy she was dating, it was her cousin or something. He was helping her because she was behind in a class, so that was all patched up, and he didn't have sex with anyone else, that was fine. So that was all sorted out and they got together. Of course that guy knows that they had sex again, and her dad shows up and he explains that he's going to pay for Garrett to go to college with his daughter, and he understands that they're going to be together, but he doesn't want them to get engaged or married until like they graduate after college, for a few years, which I was quite annoyed with, even myself. Like, and I was like, why can't we just I would be happy if he proposed to me and I was in college. Like, yeah, we can get engaged when we get married, it's up to us. But whatever. But they agreed, so they had that, and they were still together, but they just struggled a little bit with not having much time for each other, but it was all happy and good. And they graduated, and then Garrett's mum was getting remarried to his new father figure, and she was going there to the wedding, and I thought this was going to happen. I didn't realise right at the beginning, but something was going on where Garrett was getting nervous all the time, and he had planned something. I was thinking, oh my god, he's going to propose to her, and he actually was planning on proposing to her, which is brilliant, and she didn't know, so that was really nice and romantic. They had sex again, the sex stuff was great, I loved it, and I liked it when the wedding was over and the speech he had with his mum, and he called guy, his dad, so sweet. And his best friend and him were officially like brothers-in-law, should we say. That was awesome. Or should we say step-brothers, in it, that you call them. But anyway, so that happened, and he proposed to Emma on like a little picnic where they like had sex, not sex, they had sex the first time, yeah, but they had their first date there, their first kiss there, the first time he touched her there. It was just underneath that tree, and she said yes. So happy. I loved it. She was crying because she was so happy. Their parents had left, so they would go back to have sex in his bedroom. Then his mate showed up. That was funny. What else happened? What happened? Oh yeah, that her best friend and his brother were like dating, weren't they? And she was getting drunk because she was sad that he hadn't proposed to her yet. So she was like, I don't know what's going on, but I didn't like her that she was like messing around with this guy and was like maybe gonna go off and have sex with him. I was glad that Emma stopped her, but because of that bloody girl, that they, Garrett and Thingy had to get into a fight, and Emma got attacked as well, but she was okay. But Garrett like had got hit around the head and has to go in the ambulance. I was like, oh my god, what about if he gets brain damage or something? I didn't really think about. Even though that I know in the present day he's fine, but I just wasn't thinking about it. Even though I knew that this was in the past, it kind of didn't feel like that. When you're reading it, you kind of forget. It just feels like this is actually the present, and you forget that there's all the couples that have got to where they are in the present and they're both fine. It just felt like if they died, I would completely had not even thought about how could that be, because they're alive in the time. It just kind of really just took me there in that time. I loved it, and I didn't really like that they got Emma and Garrett got like technically married at the hospital. I thought that he was just gonna heal and she would heal, properly until he could walk again, whatever, and then they would have a proper wedding. But no, they had like a little wedding, but they didn't have a honeymoon where he could have sex, because obviously he was all damaged and his leg was hurt and stuff. So he had a while to recover, obviously, from being beat up. And we didn't ever see anything about them getting justice for the men that like attacked them. She told the cop one of their names, and they're like, oh, we know who that is now. But it never came back into the story like they got arrested or got taken to court or anything like that. There was no speak of it again, which I didn't really think about it when that happened, but it was a bit weird that nothing happened, like they didn't get punished for her and Garrett or something. Because normally in these books, stuff like that does happen, like when, like, even if it's like a boyfriend who was abusive to one of their girlfriends, whatever, in the book, the new boyfriend normally finds out and she tells him, and they normally like fight, or something bad happens and they put him in prison, or something bad happens, they get justice of some kind. And I guess they technically did, because the police said they knew who it was, so I guess they kind of just like dealt a bit, but we didn't, from the characters that we knew, they didn't hear anything about it again, which is kind of weird. But whatever, it wasn't about that, it was about the love story of Emma and Garrett. So after a while, they had been married technically for a year, but they got remarried again when they had to pop a big wedding dress, and he had, the tux and everything. They were both nervous because it felt like the real thing this time, which was really nice. And they said their vows and stuff and how beautiful they were, and they had their first dance, which was quite funny because they like ran off and left the wedding when they just first announced their names, like, this is Mr. and Mrs. and then they, like, their friends were after, like, oh, we missed our first dance, like, oh yeah, we didn't have our first dance, and they had to go back to have the first dance. This was really funny because they just wanted to go off and have sex, didn't they? Like, I was sick of this. And she told him she didn't have any pants on. He's like, I'm glad you didn't tell me earlier, because I would just have my way against you in the church, in the house of God. And I don't think the preacher would have liked that very much. I thought that was funny. Except on the truck, I'm pretty sure, which is sweet. And what else? They went on the honeymoon to Italy, which was really sweet. That was nice, some sweet moments, and the dad came as well. That was really nice. And they actually talked about having a baby, but they both agreed they didn't want to have one yet. They wanted to have a few years alone, and things were great. She had an argument with him when there was this other girl about land, and she thought he liked her a bit, and it was because of her hormones, I think. And she was just, and he was going to leave, but everything was fine or something. And they said they wanted to have, he said he wanted to have a baby, and he said, I do too. So they tried, and she ended up getting pregnant, and they had their first child, and it was Jack. He was Gunner's dad, I believe, isn't it? But he's not a very nice guy. Well, I think he's a nice guy, but he's not very nice to his son. They don't get on really well, because Gunner's much more close with his grandparents than he is with his real parents. So yeah, and that was sweet, where she was nervous about bring the kid home, because she was like, what about if I drop him, or because he's so small, and he's like, it's gonna be a great parent. I liked it when she was giving birth and she was like, we're never doing this again. You know, I think I would be the same, like in that much pain. I'll be like telling my husband, we're never having sex again, we're never doing this again. But of course we will. Probably. It's just what the girls say, don't they? I'm never doing this again, I can't believe you did this to me, you did this to me. It was funny. I liked where he wrote that letter for her about, he thought when he realised that she was the one was the best day of his life, and when they got married, and when he found out she's pregnant, but this was the best day of his life when she's holding the baby in his arms and he watched her sleep. It was just really cute. I like that she got to read it later on, and that it's just I like the letters. And there was another one near the end as well, and there was more for the other boys as well. They did one, and it's just sweet. And they tried for another baby, which took longer to have, but they did finally get pregnant again on the holiday, and they had their second son. And I thought Jack was so cute when he was a little boy and he was able to talk, and he kept talking to his dad like, can you go for a walk now? His voice was so cute. And when he was like kissing his brother's forehead, and he's like, his dad's like, Garrett's like, be gentle, like, yeah, be gentle, so don't want to hurt the baby. It was so cute. I loved it. And then Garrett had wrote her another letter, and she found it, and she was like crying and all happy, and she's like, I need to get some alone time with my boyfriend. And she got her friends like babysit them, they'd come and pick him up, and she's like, they went straight to their bedroom and had sex, and she's like, thank you for your letter. It's just so cute. And that was like basically the end of it. And I liked that then it went back to like present day after like Garrett had told the story to the other couples, and some of the girls were crying. But of course, what's the name? I forgot her name now. Elle's best friend, Ari. I say Ari, who's with Garrett, isn't it? No, I forgot his name. Begins with a G. Not Jason. Something like that, I forgot his name. But Ari wasn't crying, she was just like, that's why you always walk on. And I was like, I knew it. And Elle and Emma and the rest are just like crying their eyes out like, that's where you guys get it from. No wonder you guys are so romantic. That's just so sweet. You're the most romantic one ever. Just so sweet. It was such a lovely story. And I liked it. That was like the end of it. But then we got to see that all the other boys, like Scott and Gunnar and Jace and Josh, all of them wrote their version of a letter that like Garrett did for Emma, but their own letters about their wives going through pregnancy and how they fell in love and found out they were both pregnant and got to feel the baby through their stomach and how it made them feel. And they all wrote it to their woman, obviously. So you had like Gunnar writing it to Elle, and Jenny writing it to Ari, and Jessie writing one to Scott writing one to Jessie, and all that sort of stuff. That each couple got to write one. And there was one that I didn't recognise. I didn't know who that was. I was trying to figure it out because he's not this. There was another guy. I forgot his name. I think it was it? It became with a D. It was like, I think it was Dean or Daryl or something. And I was like, I don't remember ever seeing a love story of him. So I think it's on a separate one. It's not a part of the Forever series, because the first one was Gunnar and Elle, and it was Jay and Ari. Third one was Josh and I forgot this girl's name now, something. And then there was the fourth one, which was Scott and Jessie, and the fifth one was this one, which was Garrett and Emma. But there was another guy writing a book to another girl. I was like, I don't remember that. So I was looking through Kelly Elliott's books. So I didn't read all of them, but I couldn't find it. It must be one of the different book series. I've done that before though, where Garrett and Emma have been around with other couples because they're all kind of connected, all the books, so you know, other couples from the different book series do connect, and their kids are in different book series, but it's the same couples from this series. So it's all like one world with different book series, but they connect, if that makes sense, because they all kind of know each other. Like, even when I was reading Broken Dreams, which is a book series by Kelly Elliott, I've read book 1, book 2 and book 3, they had Josh mentioned in it, because Josh, his job, he like builds stuff, and he built a crib for a baby, which was for the book in book 2, which is what he bought for the baby. And he's like, yeah, I bought this crib off a guy from Josh. And we're like, haha, because that's from the other book series. So even if they don't know each other, they are connected, all the couples, in some way or what. Some of them know each other, and their kids are in the other book series, or they just know of each other because they're next door to the other town in like Texas area where like Barnes live, or something like that. So it's all kind of connected. It's brilliant. It's like that. It's kind of like how the Flash TV show is connected to Arrow, and then you have Legends of Tomorrow sort of thing. Even though they're got different people who work for them, and they're based off different things, like different comic books and stuff, but they make it like the towns are right next to each other, and they're all kind of connected by the same man who's wrote the scripts and came up with the idea of making the TV show. And you've got Supergirl as well, obviously, so they're all kind of four, and like Supergirl's on CBS, but it's still kind of connected to all the other shows who are on CW, so it's kind of like that with the books, and it's brilliant. I really loved it. I think you guys should really go and read it. It's brilliant. But I think you could read this book if you haven't read the previous books of the series or any of Kelly Elliott's books. You could just read one as a standalone. I think it would help you if you, because obviously there were characters in the other books are mentioned in it. So if you don't know much about them, it kind of, I think it would make you think, I'm curious about these other couples, because then you know that you can go and read it backwards if you wanted of the other couples, and then it would make sense. But I did like it that I had read the books in order, and it got to this, and it just made it more tied together, and it made like a perfect ending to a series, even if Kelly didn't finish doing more, like continued it, even though she has, because she has the kids who have done the story. So I'm sorry if this bit is very long, but I just really enjoyed it. I had so much to talk about it. It was just, I loved it. I love Kelly's books. I'm probably not going to read some more of her books for a while, because I've got other stuff I need to read, but I can't wait for more Kelly books to come out and for me to read them. It's just, I love Kelly. You're a brilliant author. You're one of my favourites of all time. She's definitely like in my top 5. I definitely think I love her. I love Cindy Lynn as well. She's a great author. And Abby Glines is just, and Nicholas Sparks is actually a guy. I love the way they write in their book stories. It's just awesome. I love it. And there's of course J.S. Scott. I love her books as well. They're like probably like my top 5 artists who I just love, who do great romance books. I love them. They're like I know them so well, so I read so many of their books. If I know what kind of love story I'm going for, I'm like, I fancy a Kelly Elliott book or a J.S. Scott book. So I kind of know how they're similar, but they have their own art, should we say, to their books. They're not, even though they're about like the same thing, they're both romance. They have about couples and drama. It's on the same sort of book type, but they write them different, and some of them have more raunchy sex than the others, and more romantic, or can break your heart but put it back together. So if I know what kind of mood I'm in, I know what kind of author I'm going to go to read what kind of book. But seriously, I wish they could collab and like write a whole book series, just all of them together. I think it would be fantastic if them like working together in the table and in the office, kind of ideas for couples, and making both of their arts that they do for the books just make it into one whole thing. I think the fans would love it, because I know that there's a lot of fans, even myself, authors, writers, or just people who just love books, who read their books. I know that there's a lot of us out there who have read one of these authors' books, like Kelly, who have also read Cindy Lynn or J.S. Scott or Abby Glines. They all kind of have read more than one of the writers themselves. It's just, I really wish I could go to like a book place, like they do for like Comic-Con, like book Comic-Con, where you can just go and meet the authors. I'd love to do that someday. That's a big dream of mine, but they don't do it like in England very much. I'll probably have to go somewhere like America, which just means money. I would love to do that. Probably, if I ever go to New York, which I really want to, I save up my money, I know where places I want to go, I'll have to probably go at a special time where I know that there's going to be like a Comic-Con for like books and movies at the same time, where I can go there for like 2 weeks or something, so I can do that and also go around New York and LA and stuff. That'll be so much fun, but that'll be a lot of money, but that'd be such a good dream of mine. Even if I could just go for a month, that'd be so expensive though. But if I won the lottery, I would do that. I'll just go exploring like Brooklyn and Manhattan, and go to California, LA, and it'll be so much fun. In New York, it's just, so I go to Starbucks and Central City and the Night Museum. When the museum, they have the book library as well, and art gallery. Just so many things I want to go to, in the shops like Team Max, and I would love to do that. It'd be such an amazing dream of mine. I'll probably just go walking into a gym just to see what their gyms are like, just because it would just be awesome. I'd love that. And this book series, I kind of feel like I should cry and have a funeral, because even though there's gonna be more Kelly Elliott books, I can't believe I finished the series. I think that's why I didn't want to read it, because I just didn't want it to be ended and I don't get any more of them. I love Garrett. He was so sweet. I can't decide which boy's my favourite. I loved Josh, and I loved Gunnar, and I loved Jace, and I don't know who I like the most. I just don't. I love both of even Scott. I loved each boy and each girl out of each book, their romance are so the same but so different. They all have their own kind of identity for each book, even though they're all kind of friends and they're all connected, and they all went through having a baby or going through drama or breakup or, you know, some kind of heartbreak together. And it's just I don't think I could pick. I think each boy has their own special romance or sexiness to them, and I wish that they could just make one of each of the guy into one guy. My perfect guy is just, I love Elliott. I love you so much. Oh my god. I'd love to meet her in person, just to like what it is, that how she comes up with the ideas for her books and how it makes her feel, and why she decided to become an author. Did she always know this is what she wanted to do, or whatever? It's great. It's cool. I'm actually friends with Elliott on Goodreads because she added me. That's quite cool. I was like, oh my god. I told my mum, she didn't understand, you know. I was like, oh my god, she added me. And I've even got an author who's following me on Twitter, which is really cool that this stuff is kind of happening. But I just love you so much, and I appreciate your time and your effort and the art that you make, that makes my heart break and make my heart so happy and make me cry happy tears and sad tears. And I will always forever love these books. I know that I'm going to probably go and read these books I don't know, like 50 times before I die, because they're just one of my favourites. Same as what's the name, Tina Reba. She's one of my favourite authors. She wrote my favourite ever, my top favourite first 2 books in the entire world, which is Love Unscripted. I just love book 1, book 2. They're quite long books, but I just love them so much. I even got my sister to read chapter 1, so I just told her I love it so much. I would love to read it with my sister one day, just like the whole thing, because just that book again, just, I'm sorry that this book kind of just turned into me just talking about me loving books so much, but I just do. I can't believe that I've now reached 408 books. It's just such an honour to know that I get to read other people's art. I love it. It's brilliant. This book is so good. I think I've made out that I really enjoyed it. I loved it so much. I think you guys know when I'm honest. I've told you about book series that I love, how much I loved them. I told you about books I thought were alright, and I told you about books I just really didn't like, that I hated, that I just thought it was terrible. And I've actually got people who have said that they like that I do that, like a thumbs up, like, oh, I like that Lucy told us that she hates this book series. And it doesn't happen often, but I think I've done it about 4 times now where I've just said, don't read this book, I just thought it was terrible. But most of the books I pick out, like, they normally are really good. I know what I'm looking for. I normally know what a good book is, and I just love it. But sometimes I'm so surprised when the book turns out to be really bad, or sometimes I'm surprised when the book turns out to be even better than I thought it was, which Elliott always does. I'm gonna go now, because it is now, oh my god, 30 minutes past 6. My mum just came home, so I want to go out and talk with her and hang out and find out about the Harry Potter stuff. So watch that other video I uploaded to find out about that, and I want to watch Lit in this with my mum and chill out. I'm off again tomorrow, so I don't know what I'm doing yet. I'm probably lazy, but I might do some more YouTube videos for you. I don't know yet. So if you haven't noticed, I used to do videos quite a lot, but now it's kind of like a video each week. But sometimes it's like 2 videos a week or something like that. So normally you get like at least a video a week on Genial. So yeah. Whew, oh my god, I'm almost at 80 videos on my YouTube account as well. That's crazy. That we're roughly like near the first 100 video. I should do something special, but I don't know what I'll do yet. But yeah, I'm so excited. I love you guys, and you guys are my VIPs. Really check out this book. Of course, in the description I will have the link to Elliott's book and the book series on Amazon and on what's it called, audiobook. And I also have my social networks for Goodreads and Facebook, Twitter, and etc. So please go and check that out, and I'll see you guys soon. You guys are my VIPs, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye!